Hello everyone, my name is Javi Garcia. I'm from Málaga, Spain, and I'm one of the Zero Gravity Paragliding School Xcguide instructors. In this video, I would like to introduce you the app Xcguide, which, in my opinion, I think is a sensational option, either for light tracking and retrieval management or like a flying instrument. So in this video in particular, we will focus much more on the general settings and light tracking and retrieval management. To start with, I would like to tell you that this app has been released by Ian Lewis from UK, as well known as Indy. He's such a good guy, very friendly and always on the way to try to improve this awesome app. We were lucky to meet him along one of our XC camp courses, and since then we had been in contact, providing feedback and trying the app for him and trying to working together to make even better this app. So let's get started. To start with, let me tell you that this app runs on Android devices only, and you can find it easily on the Play Store. When you install the app, you must know that the best way to provide full performance to the app is allow the app to have full access to the battery from your device. So find the menu like probably app management or battery performance, any option that you need to find on your mobile to give this app full access to the battery. Once you do so, it's time to have a look to the app itself. So here we go, and this is the main screen that we can find. So for a fast overview from left to right, we can find like a pilot list. Then on the center we can see a map, and finally on the right side we can see a column with a few buttons. I'm gonna start on this column with buttons, especially at the bottom. So you can see a square, a little white square with lines and a number 2 in that case. So this is going to swap between the different screen options that the app is going to offer. So if I click one, number 0 appear and offer me like the option like a flying instrument, in which one we'll talk later in another video, as I said. If I click again, number 1 is just a whole map, and number 2 again goes with the pilot list and the map and the buttons. If I continue going up, the blue button with the eye is to give me the status of the app. So I can see things like the version of the software, resources from the mobile like memory, if the GPS is connected, if different light tracking sources are active, I log in, and so on. So this is the way to find out if actually Xcguide is working properly. Be sure that when you are correctly set up this app, you check out and have a look to this menu to be sure that Xcguide is working properly. If we go up to the question mark button and we click there, we're gonna find the option just to have access to our logbook. From there we can replay a flight, we can put our flight on a Google Earth, for example. We can have access to the folder of the app, either to copy a file into Xcguide, in which one we can see different folders like spaces, dialog, feeds, hotspot, meteor, tasks, and more, or we can actually share files with others the same way. We have access to the folder, we select, for example, from a space, we select the document, and then we find the best way that we can share this file with others, right? If we continue going down, we can basically rename or delete, or even have access to the user guide, in which one if we go click here, we're gonna find it in so many different languages. So it's really nice. Finally, we can provide feedback to Indy if we want to, and I highly encourage to do so, because he will be super happy receiving those feedback and trying to improve the app. And nevertheless, look at the end of the menu, we can find the quit app button, because this app will remain active unless you exit the app, either clicking here or clicking twice on the triangle on the Android bar. If we click 1, this next message will appear here telling me press button again. If I click again, the app will quit. Okay. If we continue going up, we can see the Earth, planet Earth button, which basically is going to swap between different map options. You must know that the app is taken from Google Earth. So obviously now we're looking to Google Earth map, terrain mode. If I click 1, I'm gonna obtain the road mode. So if I zoom in, I can see that the named roads, and if there's some highway, I will see the highway somewhere like that, And if I click again, I'm gonna get the satellite option, right? So if I click once again, I go back just the beginning, like terrain option. And finally, on top is the setting menu, in which one we're gonna start in a minute. But first, I would like to have a look to the pilot list a bit, because it's a lot of information that we're gonna get here, and especially for the driver or the guide is sensational. To start with, the first box that you're gonna see on top, this purple box, is my coordinate, my location, and some navigation options. If I click on that box, I'm gonna open this menu. As you can see, it's referring to navigate or even select a task or things like this. But I'm going to talk later in another video about this one, because it's much more like a flying computer options. Second, you can see the coordinates. Maybe you'll see also lost GPS, because here where I am, the GPS signal is a bit low. And then on the below that, we can see a pilot list, different names with different symbols. Let's see what we have there. To start with, we see the dots with different colors on the left side. Those dots means that when we have no signal from GPS, this dot will appear. But as soon as I have a nice GPS signal, those dots will become an arrow. And the arrow will indicate where I need to move or when I need to go to basically find the pilot that I want to pick up. And also the color means the activity. So the red means more than 24 hours, orange will be more than 12, yellow will mean more than 1 hour without activity, and finally red means less than 10 minutes. But also those parameters can be set. So I encourage you to, for those small details, go to the Xcguide and have a look and set all those parameters. Then on the next one we have the name of the pilot, and the need we have the bearing that I need to go just in case I want to reach them. I have the distance and I have the height, and the height in meters in that case is the height respect my position. If I continue, I find this person symbol, like in stop position standing, and that can be different depending on the speed. So from 0 to 4 kilometers per hour means that the person is stopped, is not moving. From 4 to 8 means that the person is moving. It will show an icon like moving. And from 8 and so on, we consider, and also if there is a difference in height, the person will be flying and a glider will be displayed. Also, if you are flying with Flymaster Live, as you can see, there's a symbol with indicate the battery level, and finally we can see a symbol depending on which live tracking source the pilot is using. So for example, the first one is Live Track 24, the second one is Flymaster, and the third one is Telegram. Okay. Also, as you can see, there are different colors on the name. Also, that means they are giving you more information, but mainly they are being optimized for Flymaster, even though you can get the rest of the information. But mainly this information has been, more sharp. It's really working very nicely on Flymaster. So, if we focus now a bit on the map is fully interactive. You can either zoom in, zoom out with 2 fingers, or clicking on the plus and minus down on the right, or you can go to your position clicking on the button up on the right. and then there are a few symbols on top of the left that much more like for navigation options. But this one I would like to talk to you about is this little square here in the middle. This is auto zoom. So maybe for the driver is very interesting. If I click in here in that button, basically the map is going to zoom up until all the pilot fits in the map. All right. So that's have a general idea what all my pilots are while I driving. That could be useful. Another thing is maybe you notice that there are some circles in colors surrounding my position. So those are different circles indicating distance, and they are very useful to calculate where the distance to a point, a village, or another pilot, whatever. So those red circles are 1 kilometer. If I zoom out, this blue circle is 10 kilometer, and if I continue zooming out, this light blue circle like this is 100. All right. So in my opinion, I think it's a very good option to estimate distances between my position and whatever I want to go. So, and there's much more information, but that information I will talk in detail much more in the next video. Now let's start going into settings. So I'm gonna click up on the right and setting button, and I can see here the first option is screen at user interface. As you can imagine, I can do things like changing the screen orientation, either landscape or portrait, or then I can basically select the screen that I want for startup. In that case, for example, I select number 2. So when you select this, but this is the screen that you're gonna have anytime you start up the app. Third one, long clicks, which allows you maybe to avoid accidents in the way that if maybe by accident you click and you didn't want to, and the app change the screen or a menu open because you did a short click. So maybe with this option you're going to avoid this. But my experience, I didn't have any problem. Now it's operating now, so I have it disabled. System sounds, I really encourage you to have this option on, but for the video purposes I disable it. All right. So, but definitely you need all those system sounds working, because also they give you information. We'll see later on other menus like alerts when you're approaching to an traffic area or something like this. You will see. So you can change things like the font size, like the icon size. You can set different save screen mode, or even activate this. For example, no system IOT means that just in case the app remain a bit inactive for a while and do not disconnect the app. So with this option, the app will remain active no matter what you do. Well, I have it active, of course. I selected enable here. Full screen option, I don't have this app enabled, and the reason is because if you select this app, Android bar will disappear. And in my opinion, Android bar is very useful because I will allow you to quit the app or swap different options, or maybe swap another app that you have in background, things like this. So definitely I want to have an Android bar active in my screen. Finally, in link screen will allow you to adapt the information you want to display properly, just in case you install the app in an ebook, right? So if we go back, the second option, flight computer and vario, we will talk later in another video about this, more specifically like a flying instrument app. On the third one is referring to the way to connect many different external devices. It's not complicated. I really encourage you to go one by one. You can go from install or via Bluetooth, the Blue Fly Vario. I have one of those. It's very simple. Or you can connect different tracking devices to announce your light tracking options, right? Even a connection with Air3 flying instrument too, like FLARM or FANAT, things like this is really cool, really easy, and definitely your light tracking will be announced and improved to the maximum level. But guys, this is the menu in which one I would like to focus: live tracking and alerts. The potential of this app is the capacity, the ability to basically gather many live tracking sources in only one app and only one pilot list, as we saw in the pilot list. So only if we think about this thing is awesome, and we're gonna have a look into this option to really how to. But for the purpose of this video and for the general purpose of live tracking, I'm going to focus mainly in Live Track 24, Flymaster and Telegram, and I'm going to leave the rest for you to explore and maybe to find if any other options suit you better. But let me tell you, with these three options that I'm going to talk about, in my opinion, you are completely covered. All right? So the first option is the upgrade rate. If we click in here, we can go from 10 seconds and more than 4 minutes. So, but in my opinion, and by default, the app tells you 30 seconds, and I think it's more than enough. If you go less, like 10 or 20, of course, the location will be more accurate, but it's going to demand much more resources from the mobile, right? So you don't need that. 30 seconds is more than enough. So let's start now talking about Live Track 24. If we click in that option, the first thing I'm gonna see is I need to provide my username and my password. And what we're gonna get is anytime that I start Xcguide, it's going to log in my Live Track 24 account. It's going to basically have access to the account, and then Xcguide will provide the connection and the live tracking through my Live Track 24 account. All right. Then I can track all the users. What I can do is set on a list of Live Track 24 pilots separated by comma, and I can track them. That easy is. If I know the name of the pilot, the Live Track 24 account, I put in here separated by comma, and that's it. It's so simple. Then, if I don't know the name, but I know there will be people flying around me, I can track any pilot nearby, and I can set a circle, a radius from kilometers, 10, 20, any, all the options that you can see here. Then, of course, I can track even myself, and I need to define how. If I want to be public, private, with friends, and the time, paragliding, hang gliding, whatever. So, and finally, this is very important, guys. Track into Live Track 24 when. Okay, think about it. You can put between takeoff and landing. You can set hike and fly, or you can say until just from the app start until my first landing. Well, if you have been tracked just for retrieval purposes, what really makes sense is you set hike and fly, because once you landed, the driver must or really want to know where you're going to be. If you need to move, you were for a walk because the land spot is not suitable for the retrieval, things like this. So if you keep your tracking active, the driver will be able to see you moving, right? So definitely I want to be tracked hike and fly. And then, as you must know, in your account like Track 24, you can set up an automatic email sent when you take off or when you are landed. So when you set the email address and all that, if you click and you enable this option, well, basically it's what we're gonna do. Whenever you take off, this email will send, and when you landed, this email will send too, right? It's that simple. Let me tell you, yes, Xcguide only runs on Android devices, but if I am an Apple device user and I don't have Flymaster either, still there is one option in which I can be tracked by Xcguide, and the option is I can install Live Track 24 in my Apple device, and then the only thing I have to do is give my Live Track 24 account name to the driver or the guide, and that's it. no? And then I need to have my device active with my GPS active, normally connected to a power bank, because as we know that sharing my electric consume a lot of battery, and the rest is super easy. So we're going now to FlyMaster, and on the FlyMaster, for those pilots that you are familiar with FlyMaster Live, you know that you have an ID on your instrument, but it's required that maybe the guide or normally the guide will recreate a group ID from the FlyMaster website, gathering all the pilots that have FlyMaster devices. Once the group is created and all the pilots they confirm they are in the group, there will be only one number, one digit, normally with 2 digits here. That's 4 digits here, and this is the number that we need to put in here. If you have more than one group, but you need to put them, all of them separated at comma 2. You must know that a group ID can have only one pilot or few pilots, doesn't really matter. So especially if you are thinking to set a group and gather some pilot, what really makes sense is only create one group, and you put as many pilots as you can inside the group, and then you put the number in here. Simple. All right. And finally, if you know that in that moment there are some competitions active, like I know maybe Xpeer or Xalps or I don't know Superfiner, that you are aware that they're operating with trackers from FlyMaster. If you click and enable this thing, well, those competition also will appear in your pilot list. You can have access to watch them. Finally, and nevertheless, it is an option that it really is super nice, really nice and cool, is the Telegram option. As you may know, Telegram and WhatsApp, both they allows you to share your location. And the location can be just your exact position where you are, or live tracking as well. But the problem with those is this live tracking is very poor. It's not high quality live tracking. So Telegram has the option here to work together with the Xcview.net server, and this website provides an excellent live tracking condition, live tracking source. The way to use Xcview is if we go to Telegram, for example, here we go here. Let me show you. Sorry for the screen. I'm going to click here. I'm going to empty the chat to show you here. So the first thing that you have to do is create a group, Telegram group. Then you add all the pilot that you want inside in that group, and finally, what you have to do is to add Xcview bot, which to let you know is a software. You type for the add member, and then you type and you find it, and then you include it in your group. Once you have done this, there are a few commands you can type. The main one are /start or start or unstop. If you start, you go here and start. Look, this is a message you get, start the URL is, and then give you an address. Okay, this address is a map that is generated by this website, in which one all the members from the Telegram group will be tracked. And now we go to Xcguide here, and on the Telegram option, the first thing I have to do is, of course, to tell Xcguide from which group I'm taking the information, and the way to type it is j/ and the group name. That's simple, okay? And the second one is how I want to be, the name that I want in Xcview, because one thing is Telegram and one thing is the Xcview server. So here is where I'm going to tell the name that's going to appear in the pilot list, right? In that case, you may notice that I name myself boss, And the reason is because I'm going to be the driver. So people will see me like boss, and also like an icon with a boss. I'll tell you later how to modify this too, right? And finally, is the same that we did with like track 24, is how I want to be and when I want to be tracked, right? So if I click track into Xcguide view, I have 3 options: don't track anything, never, or track between takeoff and landing, or continuously. So obviously I'm going to choose number 2 again, right? In other words, guys, if you want to use Telegram for those purposes like tracking into Xcguide, you must have installed both Telegram and Xcguide and do this setup here in the app in the way that I show you here, right? So we're gonna have a general overview here again, because this is how the pilot list appear. So imagine that, I don't know, Angel has landed, for example, yeah? If I click on that name, this menu will appear here. So I have the option to locate him first in the map, and when I have done so, if I click here again and I set navigation, it's going to open Google Map, and it's going to basically show me where I need to drive to. And if I click initiate, but that's it, and I will go straight away to him, right? It's so nice. But also pilots, I can communicate with them, I can send a message, I can call them, and the other way around, pilots from the app, they can send me a message or they can call me straight away from the app. But also from the Telegram group, like an automatic answer, and that thing came from safety. If whenever we take off and whenever we land, if I'm being in the Telegram option, a message will be sent into the Telegram group. All right. And in my opinion, this is I think this is very nice, because getting a passive answer, a passive information with no interaction with the pilot and the app, I think is essential, just to give the information to the driver, and then we can, pilot and driver, they can talk to each other and confirm what is going on. But if only the app is able to tell you Angel, is landed or Angel is flying, I think it's very good. And I think mainly is that, just to start with. We'll talk a bit later. I'm gonna tell you a bit more about the last option. So if we go again, let me repeat this for you guys. If I click on setting, if I go to the bottom of the menu, I go in system. Here, the first option, the profile will modify a little bit the way that the information is displayed depending on the profile you're going to select. So in that case, of course, I have retrieve, but I can select the guide and I can select pilot. And also, if you change here the mode, the app will ask you to be restored to apply all the changes, okay? But the rest, for now, like I said, we're going to keep it for later, and that's it. All right, guys, so I really hope that this video will be useful for you. Please stay tuned for the next one, in which one we will talk about how to use Xcguide like a flying instrument. You will discover how powerful this app is. It is, because it's sensational. And that's it. So see you in the next one. Have a good time, guys.